AITA for canceling my wedding after catching my fiancée cheating on me when a food delivery arrived. I'm 32 years old and have been a diesel mechanic for 9 years. I started as a lube tech right out of trade school and worked my way up to running my own bay at Hollis Auto and Diesel. It is a good shop. Mr. Hollis taught me everything worth knowing. And when his knees gave out 2 years ago, he practically handed me the keys. Not the property, but close enough. I handle the heavy machinery, fleet accounts, the jobs nobody else wants. The money is good. I make around $78,000 a year before overtime. My truck is mine, paid for in cash. I also own my apartment. I am 3 years into a 15-year mortgage, 2 bedrooms, decent neighborhood. My old man always told me, own your stuff before letting someone into your life. He learned that the hard way in his first divorce. Lost the house, the boat, and half his pension. I saw him rebuild from zero in his bank accounts. I was not planning on repeating that. When I met Tessa, I kept everything separate. She had her money, I had mine. We split expenses when she moved in with me. Separate accounts. We never mixed finances. I even talked to a lawyer about a prenup. She thought it was paranoia. I thought it was intelligence. Tessa and I met at a birthday party about 3.5 years ago. She worked in real estate, showing houses and all that. She made good money, dressed elegantly, always smelled like expensive perfume. She had a laugh that made everyone turn to look at her. I won't lie, she was out of my league physically. Tall, blonde, she drew attention. I was just a grease-covered mechanic with calloused hands and diesel under my fingernails. The first year was good, very good. Breakfast at diners on Sundays, hikes when I had weekends off, binge-watching series on her couch. She didn't mind me coming in with work boots and worn-out sweatshirts. She said she liked that I built things. I should have paid more attention to how she said it, as if it were something cute, as if I were a curiosity. Everything started to change about 6 months after we got engaged. Small things, comments about my truck not being a daily driver, that her coworkers drove Autis and Teslas. She got weird when I proposed cheap dates. Suddenly, everything had to be Instagram-worthy. Dimly lit restaurants, $50 brunches for eggs. I thought she was just excited about the wedding. Then the wedding planning started. That is when I understood that the word budget means very different things to different people. Tessa wanted it all. Lakeside venue, designer dress, live band, open bar. We were talking at least $40,000. I said we could do something for $15,000, maybe $20,000. She cried. She said I didn't care about the day of her dreams. I caved. We agreed on $28,000, which felt like setting money on fire, but I loved her and wanted to see her happy. I agreed to cover most of it. She handled the decorations and her dress. I paid for the venue, the catering, the band, and the photographer. My savings took a hit. The mortgage doesn't pay itself, so I started delivering food. Yeah, I know. A diesel mechanic delivering food at midnight. My friend Drew would not let it go. Drew and I went to trade school together. Now he runs the tire department at the shop. He is built like a linebacker and talks like a stand-up comedian. Zero filter. When I told him about the delivery job, he laughed so hard he almost choked. Bro, he told me, you are delivering tacos in a diesel truck that gets 12 miles to the gallon. You are literally losing money. He was right. So I started using Tessa's car, a blue sedan she barely drove. She didn't mind. She said it was sweet, that I was working hard for our big day. I was doing 50-hour weeks at the shop and then delivering food from 8 p.m. to midnight. I was exhausted, but the wedding bill kept growing. Drew kept telling me I was being played. If she really cared about you, she would not let you kill yourself for a party. I ignored him. Tessa appreciated it, at least that is what she said, until she stopped saying it around the second month. She stopped texting me goodnight when I was out. She started going out with friends twice a week. She had her life, I had work. That is what I told myself. The signs got stronger. New clothes, expensive things, heels I had never seen. She would come home smelling like a party. Her phone became an extension of her hand, always face down, notifications off. She would laugh looking at the screen, and when I asked what was so funny, she said work stuff and locked it. One night, she came home at 2 a.m. She said her friend Kara's car had broken down. Kara lived 20 minutes away. Tessa's clothes smelled like cologne, not mine. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be the paranoid one. I swallowed it and went to work the next day. Drew was the first to say it out loud. We were having lunch when he looked at me and blurted out, She is seeing someone else. I almost punched him. I told him to mind his own business. He didn't insist, just shrugged. Fine, but when you find out, don't say I didn't warn you. 2 weeks later, I found out. It was Thursday, late November. It was so cold you could see your breath. I finished my shift around 6, ate something, and logged into the delivery app around 7:30. The orders were steady. Around 11:40 p.m., I got an order from a burger joint on the west side. Order name, Jose. $3 tip. Decent. The address appeared on my screen, and I felt my stomach drop. Sunset Motel, Route 12. I stared at the phone for about 10 seconds. The Sunset Motel was the kind of place that appears in true crime documentaries. Peeling paint, flickering neon lights, a parking lot that looked post-apocalyptic. It wasn't a place you went unless you were hiding something. The name Jose didn't ring a bell, but something felt wrong. That intuition you get when your brain detects a pattern before you can explain it. I shook it off. Surely it was just a truck driver. I grabbed the food and left. 15 minutes later, I pulled into the parking lot. My headlights swept over the cars, and then I saw it. Tessa's car, the blue one I had been using, the one with the dent on the rear bumper. I gripped the steering wheel. My mind started doing gymnastics. Maybe she had lent it to a friend. Maybe it was another car. Same model, same color, same dent. Sure, totally possible. I parked 2 spots away, killed the engine, and sat there watching. The order was for room 7. The lights were on. I could see shadows moving behind the curtains. I grabbed the food bag and got out. My boots crunched on the gravel. Music was playing inside, something slow. And then I heard her laugh, that same laugh I fell in love with. I knocked twice. The door opened halfway, and there was Tessa wearing my gray hoodie, the one that said Hollis Auto. Her hair was messy, her face flushed, and her eyes wide like a deer caught in headlights. Behind her, sitting on the bed and wearing only jeans, was a guy I had never seen. Tall, well-groomed, expensive watch. The kind of man who has never changed his own oil. He looked up from his phone, saw me standing there, and smiled mockingly. "Babe, hurry up," he said. "I'm starving." Tessa's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her hand was frozen on the door. I looked past her into the room. The unmade bed, empty food containers on the table, a bottle of sparkling cider on the nightstand. And then I saw it. Our engagement photo, the one from last spring. I had taken her there. It was on the dresser, face down. I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene. I didn't raise my voice. I looked at her, held out the bag, and said, "Enjoy your food." She grabbed my arm as I turned around. "Wait, it's not." I pulled away. I didn't run. I just walked back to the car, got in, and drove off. I saw her in the rearview mirror, standing in the doorway in my hoodie, barefoot on the cold pavement. The guy appeared behind her and said something. She went back inside. The door closed. I drove for about 20 minutes before pulling over. I ended up in a supermarket parking lot, hands shaking, staring at the steering wheel. My phone started vibrating. Texts from Tessa, calls, voicemails. I didn't look at anything, just sat there under the fluorescent light trying to process what I had seen. Around 1:30 a.m., I drove back home. Our apartment, the one I owned. I stood in the entryway for a minute. Everything looked the same. Her shoes, her jacket, the wedding binder on the counter. I grabbed a trash bag and started packing. Clothes, toiletries, shoes, those ridiculous decorative pillows. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was just efficient. By 3 a.m., I had 4 bags by the door. I called a 24-hour locksmith. He arrived at 4:15. He asked no questions. Changed the locks. $200, worth every penny. Then I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. I logged into our wedding planning account. We used a shared spreadsheet to track expenses, vendors, and deposits. I downloaded everything, every receipt, every contract, every email. Then I logged into my bank account and took screenshots of every payment I had made. Venue deposit, $3,500. Photographer, $2,200. Catering, $8,000. Band, $1,500. The list went on. By the time the sun came up, I had a folder on my desktop named Wedding Expenses Tessa. I backed it up on a USB drive and kept it in my truck. Then I sent a text to Drew. "You were right." He replied in about 30 seconds. "I am bringing coffee." Tessa got home around 9 a.m. I know because the doorbell camera I installed 2 months prior sent me an alert. I watched her from the break room at the shop on my phone. She tried to use her key. It didn't work. She tried again. Knocked. Rang the doorbell. Knocked harder. I didn't answer. She called me 17 times between 9 and 10. I didn't answer. Around 10:30, I got a text. Why did you change the locks? We need to talk. I replied, your stuff is in the hallway. The building manager has it. She called again. I declined the call. Text. Please, can I explain? Me. I don't care. Her. You are overreacting. Me. You were wearing my hoodie in a motel with another guy. I am reacting appropriately. Her. It's not what you think. Me. Then what is it? She didn't reply for 2 hours. Drew arrived at the shop with 2 large coffees and a breakfast sandwich he didn't even eat. He slid it across the workbench and said, talk. I told him everything. The delivery, the motel, the guy, the hoodie, the photo. He listened without interrupting, drinking coffee, nodding occasionally. When I finished, he put down the cup and said, so now what is the plan? Plan? What do you mean? You can't just walk away from this. She humiliated you. She humiliated you while you were delivering food to pay for a wedding with a woman who was sleeping with another guy in a motel. That isn't a breakup, it is a declaration of war. I hadn't looked at it that way. I was still in shock. Honestly, the anger hadn't hit yet, but Drew was right. It wasn't just a betrayal, it was calculated. She used my car, ordered room service, probably paid with money I helped save. I need to think, I said. Think fast, Drew replied. Because she is going to flip the story. Women like that always do. By tomorrow, you will be the bad guy who abandoned her over a misunderstanding. And he was right about that too. By noon, I already had 6 messages from people I barely knew. Friends of Tessa, co-workers, all with variations of the same thing. What did you do to Tessa? She is devastated. You need to listen to her. She made a mistake, but you are being cruel. I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I called a lawyer. His name was Benjamin Sterling, an older guy, maybe in his 60s, with a small office in a strip mall. My dad used him for his divorce and always said he was the only lawyer who didn't try to bleed you dry. I explained the situation to him. Benjamin listened, asked a few questions, and then said, do you have proof? I delivered the food to her, I said. I saw her. I saw the guy. That is your word against hers, said Benjamin. Do you have anything documented? Photos, texts, receipts. I thought about it for a moment. The order is on my account. It has the time, the address, everything. Screenshot it. What else? I have the video from the doorbell camera this morning when she tried to enter the apartment. Even better. Anything else? Not yet. Then get more? If this gets messy, you're going to want a paper trail. Bank statements showing you paid for the wedding, proof she lived in your apartment without paying rent, anything that shows she benefited financially from the relationship. You said she moved in with you 2 years ago, right? Yes. Did she pay rent? We split it. Can you prove it? I opened my bank account. I scrolled back 2 years and found the rent payments. Every month like clockwork, I sent her a transfer for her half, and she sent it back with notes like, done, love, or thanks, honey, except she had stopped returning it about 8 months ago. She stopped paying, I said slowly. I have been covering the full rent for 8 months. Benjamin chuckled. It wasn't a happy laugh, more like that of a lawyer who just found a winning argument. Print those statements. Bring them to my office tomorrow, and whatever you do, do not interact with her. No calls, no texts, no let's meet to talk. Leave it to me. I hung up feeling like I had just hired a hitman. Not literally, but close. That night, I received a text from a number I didn't recognize. I'm Kara, Tessa's friend. You need to talk to her. She is a mess. I blocked the number. Another message. Another number. I'm Logan, Tessa's brother. What the hell is wrong with you? She says you overreacted over nothing. I sent him a screenshot of the order showing Sunset Motel Room 7 with the time. 11:47 p.m. Then I blocked him too. In less than an hour, my phone was blowing up. More messages, more calls. Tessa's mom, her friends, people I had barely met once at a barbecue, all with the same vibe. I was the villain. I had abandoned her. I was cruel. Someone even said I was emotionally abusive for changing the locks. Drew texted me, bro, you have to scorch the earth. These people think you are the bad guy. Show them who she really is. I thought about it. Part of me wanted to post the delivery screenshot on social media, tag everyone, and let them see the truth. But Benjamin's voice echoed in my head. Do not interact. So I didn't. Instead, I did something smarter. The next morning, I went to the bank and closed the wedding savings account. It was solely in my name. Tessa had access, but legally it was mine. I transferred the remaining $400 to another account she couldn't access. Then I canceled all the vendors we had hired. The venue, the photographer, the catering, the band. Most didn't have refund clauses, so I lost the deposits. About $6,000 down the drain, but I wasn't going to let her walk down the aisle with my money while watching another guy. The photographer asked why I was canceling. I told her the truth. My fiancée cheated on me. She refunded half the deposit. She said someone had done the same to her once, and she understood. Small victories. I also called the building manager and removed Tessa from the apartment lease. She had never been an official tenant, just listed as an occupant. The manager asked no questions. Updated the paperwork. Done. By the end of the day, I had systematically erased her from every important part of my life. Bank accounts, wedding plans, apartment lease. The only thing left was the stuff she had in her car and what she had picked up from the hallway. That afternoon, Tessa showed up at the shop. I was pulling down the bay doors, when I heard her voice behind me. We need to talk. I turned around. She looked different, tired. Her makeup was smeared, her hair in a messy bun. She wasn't wearing the hoodie anymore. Small miracles. There is nothing to talk about, I said. Yes, there is. You don't answer my calls. You changed the locks. You canceled the wedding. You act like I don't exist. You don't exist, I replied. Not to me. Not anymore. Her face twisted. Anger, pain, and frustration all at once. You don't even want to know the truth. I already know the truth. I saw it. You saw what you wanted to see, she said. It wasn't what it looked like. I almost laughed. You were in a motel with another guy wearing my hoodie after ordering food under a fake name. What was it supposed to look like? It was a mistake, she said. A mistake. We were fighting. You were never around. I felt lonely. So you decided to cheat on me in a motel and use my car to get there. She had no answer. I have been working 70 hours a week to pay for a wedding you wanted, I said. Delivering food at midnight so you could have the day of your dreams. And you felt lonely. That is your excuse. You don't understand, she said, raising her voice. He made me feel special. He really listened to me. Stop, I said. I don't care. I don't care who he is. I don't care why you did it. I don't care if you felt lonely, special, or whatever. You made your choice. Now live with it. She looked at me as if I had slapped her. Then came the tears. Not discreet tears. Uncontrolled sobbing, the kind that makes people stop and stare. A couple walking past the shop on the sidewalk, probably wondering if they should intervene. Please, she said with a broken voice. I love you. I made a mistake. I am sorry. Please, don't do this. For a second, I almost caved. Almost. Then I remembered her laugh at the motel. The guy's mocking smile. The engagement photo face down on the dresser. Go home, Tessa, I said. And don't come back here. I walked to my truck, got in, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw her standing in the parking lot, still crying, phone pressed to her ear, surely calling Kara, or Logan, or whoever else was on her side. I didn't care anymore. The following weeks were a blur. Work, sleep, repeat. I stopped delivering food. I didn't need the money anymore now that the wedding was canceled. Drew started bringing me lunch every day, more as an excuse to check on how I was doing. He didn't say much, just sat there, ate his sandwich, and reminded me I wasn't crazy. She is telling everyone you are a psycho, he told me one afternoon. That you exploded over nothing. Let them talk, I replied. Aren't you going to defend yourself? Why? The truth doesn't need a defense, it just needs time. Drew shook his head. You are way calmer than I would be. I would have already posted that screenshot everywhere. And then what? She plays the victim even harder. People take sides, it becomes a circus. No thanks. He smiled. When did you get so wise? When I understood that revenge doesn't have to be loud. What I didn't tell Drew was that I was already 3 steps ahead. Benjamin had advised me to keep documentation, and I did. I logged into our shared Google Photos account, the one Tessa and I used to back up images, and found interesting things. Photos of her with the motel guy dating back about 4 months. Captions like, best weekend ever, and I love this man. She had marked them as private, but I had access. I downloaded them all and backed them up. Then I removed her access to the account. 2 days later, she texted me, "Why did you block me from our photos?" Me. They are my photos. My account. You aren't on the lease. You aren't on the bank account. You aren't in my life. Why would you have access? You are being childish. I am being smart. She didn't reply. Around that time, I started getting messages from the guy. Yeah, the one from the motel. His name was Carter. I know because he introduced himself in a 3-paragraph message that started with, "Hey, buddy." I think we started off on the wrong foot. I read the whole thing. It was a masterpiece of self-delusion. It said he didn't know Tessa was engaged, that she had told him she was single, that they had been seeing each other for a few months, and that he thought it was something serious. He even apologized for the awkward situation and said he hoped there were no hard feelings. I didn't reply, but I did screenshot it and sent it to Benjamin. Benjamin called me 10 minutes later, laughing. This guy is an idiot. He just admitted to an ongoing relationship. If Tessa tries to say it was a one-time mistake, this exposes her. Good, I said. Do you want me to send a cease and desist? Not yet. Let's see if he keeps talking. And he kept talking. Over the next week, Carter sent me 4 more messages, each one more desperate than the last. He wanted to clear the air, wanted to explain his side. He even offered to meet for coffee. I ignored them all, but saved every single one. 1 month after the motel incident, things got interesting. Drew walked into the shop one morning with a weird expression. "Bro, you aren't going to believe this." "What? Remember that guy, Carter?" "Yeah. He is also in real estate. He works at the same agency as Tessa." I froze with the wrench still in my hand. "What?" "Yeah. I was talking to my cousin last night. She works in property management and mentioned some drama at Prestige Realty. Apparently, 2 agents were sleeping together and a scandal broke out because one of them was engaged." I felt something settle in my chest. It wasn't anger or sadness. It was cold, calculated clarity. "They work together," I said slowly. "Uh-huh. So they saw each other every day at work. That explained a lot of things. The late appointments, dinners with clients, new clothes. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was building a second life." "Is there more?" asked Drew. "Apparently, Carter is married." I blinked. "What?" "Yeah. My cousin said his wife works in finance. They have been married for like 6 years. She has no idea." I sat on a rolling stool and stared at the oil-stained floor for a while. "Let me get this straight," I said. "Tessa was cheating on me with a married guy she also works with." "Yes." "And he has been texting me pretending he didn't know she was engaged when he himself is married." "Yes." "And Tessa has no idea that I know all this." Drew smiled. "No. This just got a lot more interesting." I didn't do anything immediately. I sat on the information. Let it marinate. Let Tessa think she had gotten away with it. Let Carter believe I had moved on. Meanwhile, I focused on work. Business was doing well. Mr. Hollis decided to officially retire and offered to sell me the shop. Not cheap, but fair. He knew I was already running it and trusted me. We worked out a payment plan. By mid-December, I was the owner of Hollis Auto and Diesel. They put up a new sign. Hollis Auto and Diesel, under new management. Drew took a picture of me in front of the sign, arms crossed, covered in grease. He uploaded it to Instagram with the caption, "From Lube Tech to Shop Owner." This is how it's done. It got like 200 likes. One of them was from Tessa. I didn't react. 2 days later, she texted me. "Congratulations on the shop. You deserve it." I didn't reply. She tried again. "I miss you." "Nothing. Can we talk later, please? I need to close this chapter." Me. "You got closure when you checked into that motel. Good luck with Carter." She didn't reply. That night, Drew came over with a 6-pack of root beer. He knew I didn't drink alcohol. We sat on the balcony watching the city lights. He asked me what my next move would be. "I'm not sure," I said. "Part of me just wants to move on, pretend she doesn't exist. And the other part? The other part wants her to face consequences." Drew grinned. "I am team consequences." Surprise. He laughed. "But seriously, she humiliated you, used you, and now she walks around playing the victim while you rebuild your life. That doesn't sit right with me." "Me neither," I admitted. "But I don't know what to do about it." "You have screenshots, you have Carter's messages, you have proof she lived 8 months without paying rent. That is ammunition, brother." I thought about it. He wasn't wrong, but I didn't want to be that guy, the one who drags his ex through the mud just to feel better. That wasn't me. Then, my phone vibrated. A text from Tessa's mom. I don't know what happened between you two, but Tessa is destroyed. She doesn't eat, doesn't sleep. She says you won't even talk to her. Whatever she did, she is sorry. Please, give her another chance. I showed it to Drew. He read it and said, her mom doesn't know, does she? She doesn't know Tessa cheated on you. She probably thinks you exploded and left her over a misunderstanding. He was right. That was exactly what Tessa had told everyone. I was the villain who abandoned her for nothing. You know what? I said, I am tired of being the villain in her story. So what are you going to do? I opened the screenshots, the Google photos, Carter's messages, the order receipt. I organized them in a folder, added context to each one, and saved it as a PDF titled The Truth About November 28th. Then I sent it to Tessa's mom with no message, just the file. Drew's eyes went wide. Bro, you just dropped a nuclear bomb. She wanted the truth, I said. Now she has it. In less than an hour, my phone started ringing nonstop. Tessa's mom, Tessa's brother. Tessa. I didn't answer any calls. I put the phone on silent and went to sleep. The next morning I woke up to 43 missed calls and about 80 texts. I didn't read most of them, but I did read one from Tessa's mom. I had no idea. I am so sorry. She lied to all of us. And one from Tessa. You just destroyed my life. To that one, I replied, no, you did that all by yourself. Then I blocked her number. The consequences were swift and brutal. Tessa's family stopped defending her overnight. Her friends disappeared. The same people who previously called me cruel suddenly had nothing to say. Total silence. It was almost funny how quickly the narrative flipped. Drew found out through the grapevine that Tessa got fired from the real estate agency less than 48 hours after Carter's wife found out. Apparently, the wife went to the office, walked straight to Carter's desk, and slammed a stack of printed screenshots onto his keyboard in front of everyone. Meetings, calls with clients, lunch hour, it didn't matter. She brought everything to light right there in the middle of the sales floor. Carter tried to justify himself, said Tessa had seduced him, that he planned to end the affair, that he made a mistake, but his marriage was his priority. Classic cheater's manual. His wife didn't believe him. That same week she filed for divorce and took the kids to her parents' house 3 states away. And here comes the heaviest part. Carter wasn't just married. He had 2 kids, 4 and 7 years old. Drew's cousin sent me a screenshot of a post by the wife on Facebook. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. It said, when you find out your husband of 6 years is having an affair with a co-worker who knew he was married, and your kids ask why daddy doesn't live here anymore, that is the true cost of someone's selfish decisions. It had 600 likes, more than 200 comments, all supporting her, all dragging Carter and the other woman through the mud. Tessa's name appeared in the comments within hours. The agency fired Tessa, citing a violation of ethics and workplace conduct policies. Translation: you embarrassed us, so you are out. She tried to fight it, but the reality is that most companies don't want that kind of drama tied to their brand, especially in real estate where reputation is everything. I wish I could say it ended there, but Tessa didn't go quietly. About 2 weeks after I sent that PDF to her family, the harassment started. At first, it was subtle. She would drive slowly past the shop at about 15 miles per hour staring through the windows. Drew was the first to notice. Bro, your ex just passed by here for the 3rd time this week, he told me one afternoon. That is not normal. I downplayed it. She is probably just passing through. It's a main avenue. She is slowing down, he said. She is watching. He was right. The next day, I saw her myself sitting in her car across the street, engine running, staring at us. When I walked out, she drove off. Then the call started. Not from her number. I had that blocked, but from unknown numbers. I would answer thinking it was a customer, and there she was. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she screamed. Sometimes she just breathed into the phone and hung up. You ruined my life. Everyone hates me because of you. You didn't have to tell my mom. Carter left me because you exposed everything. I stopped answering unknown numbers. Then came the social media bombardment. She couldn't message me directly. I had her blocked everywhere. So she found other ways. She started posting vague statuses on Facebook. When someone you love destroys you out of spite. Cheaters exist because relationships fail. Ruining someone's life over a mistake, that is true evil. Her friends supported her. Comments like, "You deserve better, queen." That is when she showed her true colors. People who didn't know the whole story went back to her side. Drew took screenshots of everything and sent them to me with a single message. Bro, I didn't reply publicly, I didn't play the game, but Benjamin had told me to document everything, so I did. Every post, every hint, every comment that mentioned me directly or indirectly. The breaking point came about 3 weeks after the PDF issue. I was closing the shop one night. Around 8 p.m., Drew had already left. I was alone, locking the bay doors when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and there she was. Tessa, about 10 feet away in the parking lot. It was dark. The streetlights cast strange shadows. She looked different, thinner, tired. There was something unhinged in her eyes. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't, I replied, keeping my voice steady. You need to leave. You can't just ignore me forever. I'm not ignoring you. I'm done with you. There is a difference. She took a step toward me. I stepped back, not out of fear, but out of caution. There was something off about her energy. You destroyed everything, she said with a trembling voice. My job, my family, my reputation. All because you couldn't handle a single mistake. You cheated on me for months, I said. With a married guy while I was killing myself working to pay for our wedding. That isn't a mistake. It is a series of decisions you made. And you made a decision too, she retorted. You chose to humiliate me. You sent those screenshots to my mom. You ruined my career. I sent the truth to your mom. You ruined your own career. She laughed. Not a normal laugh. It was a dry, bitter sound that made my skin crawl. You think you're so righteous, so perfect. But you're just a mechanic. Always were. And that is all you will ever be. There I saw it. The switch, the mask falling off. This wasn't about fixing anything anymore. It was about control. She had lost everything, and now she wanted to take something from me. I pulled out my phone and started recording. What are you doing? She asked. Protecting myself, I replied. You need to leave right now, Tessa, or I call the police. She stood there for a long moment looking at me with that same unhinged look. Then she turned around and walked to her car. But before getting in, she turned to look at me and said, This isn't over. Then she drove off. I saved the video and sent it to Benjamin. He called me 10 minutes later. Request a restraining order tomorrow. It isn't an exaggeration. She is showing up at your work. She is harassing you on social media. She is making threats. That is textbook stalking. You need legal protection before this escalates. I didn't argue. The next morning I went to the courthouse, filled out the forms, and presented the evidence, the video, the screenshots of her social media posts, the call logs showing dozens of calls from unknown numbers in a single week, and the security footage showing her appearing several times near the shop. The judge granted a temporary restraining order. 500 feet away. No contact. No contact through third parties. Any violation meant arrest. When Tessa was served with the order 2 days later, she lost control. I know because her brother called me. This time not to yell at me, but to apologize. I didn't believe you at first, he told me. But she has been living with me since she lost her apartment. She is spiraling, man. She sits in her car outside your shop. She talks about you all the time. She is obsessed. I am sorry, I said. And I meant it. Not sorry for what I did, but sad that it had come to this. The restraining order was the right decision, he said. She needs help, professional help, but she doesn't want to listen to anyone. I didn't know what to reply. I thanked him for the call and hung up. During the following weeks, everything was quiet. The order worked. She stopped passing by the shop, stopped calling, stopped posting. It was as if she had disappeared. Drew joked, saying I should have asked for the restraining order months ago. I didn't laugh. There was nothing funny about watching someone self-destruct, even when they had brought it upon themselves. But life went on. The shop stayed busy. New customers arrived. The kid, Nate, was a fast learner. Drew kept spirits high with his endless stream of jokes and comments. One afternoon, while we were working on a transmission rebuild, Drew looked at me and asked, "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I replied. "I'm good." "Sure? You have been very quiet lately. Just thinking about how things could have been different." He put the wrench on the table. "Don't do that to yourself, brother. You didn't do anything wrong. She cheated. You found out. You protected yourself." "I know," I said. But part of me wonders if it wouldn't have been better to leave quietly. No PDF, no screenshots. Just disappear. Drew shook his head. "No, she was already telling lies about you. If you hadn't shown the truth, you would still be the villain in everyone's story. You did what you had to do. He was right. I knew it. But knowing it doesn't always make it easier. A few weeks later, I heard through third parties that Tessa had moved, not just apartments, but states. Some said Arizona, others Texas. No one knew for sure, and honestly, I didn't care enough to find out. Carter, meanwhile, was dealing with his own mess. Divorce proceedings, child support negotiations. His ex-wife got the house, primary custody of the kids, and a good chunk of his income. Last I heard, he was living in a one-bedroom apartment and driving a 10-year-old sedan because his wife got the SUV. Karma is funny like that. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel bad either. I just felt done. The shop kept me busy. Drew and I hired another mechanic, a kid fresh out of trade school who reminded me of myself at 23. Hungry, eager, willing to learn. We trained him, and in a few months, the shop was running better than ever. I stopped checking social media. I stopped worrying about what people thought. I stopped wondering if Tessa was okay. She was no longer my responsibility. In February, about 3 months after the motel incident, I ran into her at a gas station. I was filling up the truck, and she pulled up 2 pumps away in a car I didn't recognize. She saw me. I saw her. For a second, neither moved. Then she walked over. "Hi," she said. "Hi. I just wanted to say I am sorry for everything." I nodded. "Okay. That's it. Just okay. What do you want me to say, Tessa?" "I don't know. You disappeared, ended everything, and didn't look back. You were cheating on me," I said. "In a motel with a married guy while I worked overtime to pay for our wedding. What was I supposed to do? Stay?" She looked down. "No, I guess not. I hope you fix your life," I said. "Really? But I am not part of that process." She nodded with tears forming in her eyes. "I know." I finished pumping gas, got in the truck, and drove away. I didn't look back. That was the last time I saw her. I heard she moved to another state. Someone said Arizona to start over. I hope it is true. I hope she is better. I hope she learned something. As for me, I learned to trust my intuition. I learned that hard work pays off. And I learned that walking away doesn't make you weak. Sometimes it makes you smarter. Comment. Watching someone walk away from betrayal with that kind of dignity really makes you think about your own worth. It's a powerful reminder that you don't have to raise your voice to be heard or understood. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is remove yourself from a situation that no longer respects you. We often confuse closure with getting the last word, but real peace comes from knowing you stood up for yourself. You have the right to protect your energy, your finances, and your heart without feeling guilty. Remember that walking away isn't weakness. It's a courageous step toward healing. When you refuse to engage in the drama, you reclaim your power and stay in control of your own story. Trust your intuition when something feels wrong, because your gut is usually trying to keep you safe. Focus on building a life that makes you proud, because that's the only validation you truly need. No matter what you're going through, choose your peace over someone else's chaos every single time. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.